Welcome to podcast number 6.
Yep, number 6 of Furry Charge podcast.
What are we talking about this time?
We've been trying to find topics for things. It's been a little slow. And we'd certainly appreciate if anybody sent in topics they think we would like to talk about on here. And
Patreon has first dibs to topics, so if you want yours to be heard before anybody else's, subscribe to our Patreon.
It can be big topics or small. It doesn't really matter. But make them kind of interesting towards furry in general, or it can be something that's kind of in the same vein of the fandom. It's, whatever we can possibly talk about, we're hoping to get more.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, I want to kind of preface it with eventually it'll probably be one of the most outdated topics we've done on it. But
hopefully
currently, it's really big, and that is COVID-19 or coronavirus.
I don't think there's a single person on the planet who has not heard of what's been going on with that. It is so widespread. We've
been wanting to do a podcast on it, and we originally started it, or wanted to start it and say that it wasn't as big a deal.
Yeah,
not
basically,
as big a deal as
Flu 2.0 is what we wanted to say, but as more research has been gone into it and more knowledge about it has surfaced, we can safely say it is not like the flu.
It's supposedly far worse on the mortality rate.
And symptoms too.
And so far, as of this recording anyway, it's about 430,000 cases so far.
Mortality rates of about 3%.
So,
mainly centered around elderly and possibly very young.
It seems around that, but then they say the deaths are, 7,000 or something so far. So, yeah, it's become a big mess. It really has.
Today's date of recording is 3/23, I want to say.
3/25.
3/25, March 25th.
Yeah.
So I don't know what day it'll be by the time we get this up, but this is to give you some reference on the statistics.
So what do you have to say about it, Tom?
Let's talk about viruses in general, so we can get an understanding of what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Viruses themselves are non-living organisms. They're just a cell membrane type of structure with genetic information inside without even a nucleus. Now, bacteria, most bacteria do have a nucleus and organelles, but viruses do not. And they're just a completely different organism. And you cannot kill a virus with antibiotics, so if that's your go-to, do not take antibiotics with this, because that will contribute to antibiotic-resistant bacteria developing, and it does nothing to the virus. So just the only thing you can do is treat the symptoms and wait it out. Now, coming back to COVID itself, coronaviruses are not new, but this strain is. And the fact that it's new means that human immune system it's not used to it, so there's no immunity to this one, which is potentially dangerous. And this is why it's spreading like wildfire. And it's a respiratory disease. It mainly attacks the
is it the lungs or what?
The lungs would be considered a deep respiratory infection. Unless it gets severe, it would be an upper respiratory infection, which attacks the sinuses and the upper trachea area. It can get severe in some cases, in which it settles deeper into the lungs. And then you might get pneumonia, you might get fluid in the lungs. And I saw a video on Twitter that the cause of mortality with this is you just get so much fluid buildup in your lungs that if you get intubated, that is, the doctors put a tube in your throat to help give you oxygen if you can't breathe. There's just so much fluid in your lungs that you can't get the oxygen, and then you suffocate to death. And in healthy cases, even, well, I shouldn't say healthy, but in less severe cases, like what you will probably be going through if you get this, you'll be getting fever and chills. You'll be getting a key trait of this is shortness of breath. You will find it hard to breathe. And just that alone seems pretty scary, because imagine not being able to breathe.
Okay, so what everybody is freaking out about mostly, let's say if people aren't really like staying up to date with it.
I know I went on a tangent talking about like the biology and stuff, but
so like we always live with the flu every year, and it honestly kills something like 500, 600,000 people a year.
Yeah.
So we always have something like this around, and it's always attacking those that don't have as good of an immune system, who have underlying conditions, the old people, elderly. This one has been worse just because it has a higher mortality rate than the flu. So, you know, when it originally started, a lot of people just wanted to say, oh, it's just another flu. But it's definitely, it's spreading faster, it seems like, or they're just showing it on media more. Who knows how fast flus are? Nobody ever really keeps up with that. But, you know, it does seem to be something worse than what it is, what the flu is.
Yeah, that's for
sure. And you get it mostly from, like, droplets or something, right? From, like, somebody coughing?
Airborne, so you can get it through coughing. You can get it by being near somebody who's sick.
But it would most likely be on, like, something they coughed onto?
Yeah.
Or?
It can pass through hard surfaces, too, like if you touch a doorknob and the doorknob was contaminated with the virus. That's why disinfecting surfaces and your hands are very important. And make sure you do it effectively, and hand washing, too.
But, you know, it's like, it almost feels like the virus is being more sensationalized than it should have been. It's definitely something that should have been prepared for and had more restrictions right from the beginning.
I mean, the hoarding toilet paper part was kind of ridiculous, because only about 13%, I want to say, actually develop gastrointestinal issues, which is a small proportion.
I don't understand, other than them just thinking they're going to be inside for a year.
They're not going to... Statistics say that the CDC is going to develop a vaccine in a year.
But a vaccine isn't entirely a cure either.
It's not
a deterrent or what?
It helps to boost immunity. So while humans don't have natural immunity, since our immune cells don't recognize it, the vaccine helps to boost it so that with vaccines, you get a weakened or dead version of the actual virus so that it builds up your immune system. And so when it comes time for your body to actually fight the real deal, then your body won't become overwhelmed. It'll lower your chances of getting the infection a lot more than just now.
But even with a vaccine, does it take a while before... It doesn't mean everybody's just going to be suddenly cured and it goes away. It still needs to turn into that herd immunity or something? Where it's going to have to just take its course?
Might be that as well. But the vaccine is definitely going to help, because it'll just give an added bonus to the immune system and being able to have a faster response to it. And so it'll lower the chances of you getting the actual infection, and if you do get the infection, it'll be not as severe as if you would go without the vaccine. Now, I know there's some people out there who are against vaccines. I don't think this is a case where you should hate on vaccines, because everybody's in this together. This is our fight together. Nobody should be trying to fight this thing alone.
Well, you do hear a lot of cases with the flu vaccines that it does get somebody insanely sick and they die from it.
I don't know about that.
There has been cases for sure.
Vaccines They're designed to cause an infection because viral infections are just your body's immune system reacting to give you the symptoms. It's not the virus itself. Now, you get injected with a weakened version of the virus. It's not going to do anything, but you still get sick. Why is this? It's because your immune cells are recognizing the pathogen and they're reacting to it. Thus, you get a little bit sick. It's a normal response to it.
So, like, all in all, this is going to take a while. There's like no immediate end to this. Just be like, oh, everything's done.
It depends.
It depends on if we do like some crazy, everybody never goes out anywhere, and it just...
Well, that will help to lessen the impact it has on the healthcare field, because there's only so many beds for people who really need it. So by keeping people inside, it'll slow down how fast this progresses, and maybe stop some people from even getting sick at all, thus saving beds for those who are in severe cases who would die otherwise without medical treatment.
Well, it's still like a mostly elderly population that's dying from it.
Yes, but
there was a report of somebody like really young dying from it, but they probably had some underlying.
I'd imagine there is a potential for people like our age, 18 to...
If maybe you had lived your whole life with diabetes or something, they say.
Even then, it really depends, because I'm sure there is a risk of 18 to 40 who could die from this.
But for most people, it probably wouldn't be any worse than the flu.
For most people. Might be slightly worse than the flu.
Not that I want it. I hate the flu.
No.
Like, I have a legit fear of, like, throwing up.
Yeah. Now, even if people are healthy, then you should really watch out as well. Not only for yourself, but for other people who might...
Well, you still don't want to give it to everyone else and have possibly somebody that they do care for.
Yeah.
You see a lot of Twitter doing their dumb stuff usually of boomer remover with this. You know, it's kind of funny as a joke, but I'm sure most everybody knows somebody that they love.
Mother's a boomer, and
that's 50 or over, and they don't want them to die.
My mom's a boomer, and she texted me recently that she's having like a stuffy nose.
Cold-like symptoms more so.
And not really flu-like, just the stuffy nose. And even that's got me worried because, well, yeah, you know why.
A lot of people's parents are, you know, they're getting in 50, 60, 70 years old now. And, you know, you don't want to see them die. It's funny to people to the point of they don't know the person, but as soon as they do, it's something that is difficult on them.
I mean, think about it this way. 60% of the U.S. is expected to be infected with this. That's most likely going to be somebody you know. Yeah,
you're going to have your father, your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather,
friends,
uncles, whatever.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Think of the person who's closest to you. Imagine them getting it. Imagine it being because of you not heeding the isolation warning.
And even then, the last time I got the flu, I hated it. I've always, you know, everybody hates having it. Who wants it?
There is that aspect too. Like, even if you know for yourself that you'll make it through, do you really want to put yourself through sickness?
Yeah, really. Do you really want this?
No. I certainly don't want to be sick, even if I know for sure that I'll make it.
The last flu I had, those fever dreams, they were the worst.
I do not.
You always get those dreams where you're laying there and you're like half awake, but you're trying to sleep and your mind's just rushing through everything.
No.
And it's the worst feeling ever because you know you won't get to sleep.
Feverish, I do feel like delusional.
Oh, yeah. Cold is annoying.
Even the cold, even the cold is annoying to the point where people would like to avoid it. I mean, think of in public places and you hear somebody having the cold and knowing that you have to be around them. It's
strange though. I think the advent of social media, way more than the last one of these big pandemics. The last one was about 2009, I think it was.
Was it H1N1?
That was H1N1, swine flu. And it supposedly infected 700 million to 1.4 billion in the world.
And more
it killed a lot of people too.
And more people died from that
one.
No,
not as many. No.
Which one was one that more people died? Because I know one of them was.
more people died.
Spanish
like
flu. I
Spanish
think that
flu,
was
yeah,
it.
but that was back before, we had hardly any type of like.
Yeah.
That might even been before like most sanitation even.
The good news is, even though this is a scary time, even though it's uncertain the future, we've been through illnesses that are completely new like this before. But the good news is that we have medicine on our side. We have more knowledge of diseases than we have before, and this is to our advantage in beating this.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen people not panic as much, but as soon as one panic video got out on Twitter, everybody was going to.
Maybe it's just monkey see, monkey do.
And it's not even
know.
like, say some of them that do panic buy, the rest of us are going to be like, I better get to the store and get at least
like
what I
with
need.
us.
Yeah. Like we recently did the video that we poked a little bit of fun,
Yeah.
but all of that on there was paper towels.
Yeah.
We barely have any toilet paper here.
We have what we have because of my mom, and even that's
Yeah.
not going to last, like, however long it might take, maybe even a few months.
They say stores are getting more in. I think a lot of people thought that toilet paper, for some reason, is manufactured in China, and it's not. Most all of it is manufactured in the U.S. Most all food is. That's one thing that has actually stayed over here is food.
Mm-hmm.
Home things you need like goods, toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, sanitizer, stuff like that is still made here.
So if you're one of those who are still panic buying,
No.
please stop.
Really don't.
The rest of us need some.
Yeah, and water is usually shipped out. The things I don't get is milk and like meat and stuff like that. That stuff goes bad in like a week.
You'd think people would be going after, what, some of the stuff that, I forgot what.
I can understand water. I really can.
Yeah.
You want like clean water, but even then you can buy a filter on your tap.
No, weren't there some of products from the store that were still there that we were surprised were they're not taken?
You see a lot of soap and stuff still. Why wouldn't people be buying soap? Soap is better than hand sanitizer.
People like being musky huskies?
But you could have hand sanitizer with you outside somewhere, so that's probably why.
Hand sanitizer is good for emergency cases when you need sanitation but don't have access to soap and water, because soap cleans much better.
But everything's a big mess with it right now. Hopefully we can look back on this and say, hey, it was a mess then, everything got better. But right now, hopefully people at least keep their jobs.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can keep things in stock. Hopefully they don't go to a martial law type of thing. And we can still get out and get stuff that we need without this going too crazy.
Yeah.
Restaurants, businesses, everything are starting to close down because they just can't afford it. And all the government can say is that they might start sending out like $1,000, $2,000.
But there's probably going to be...
there will be repercussions for it. There will be...
It's the government.
You will owe them again on tax season. You'll owe them again. Or say if they freeze rent, they freeze mortgages, you'll just have that rent mortgage to pay off again, possibly when you don't have the money then either.
It's going to be a drawback. It's the government.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that, people don't really think about. But as is, it really has tanked the economy, and they could have prepared for this better. They could have suspended all flights, all travel, anything.
Of course, it's people. People don't want to think about worst case scenario that something bad's happening until it's too late.
At the very beginning, I'm sure a lot of people were just like, it's just a flu.
I know,
we kind of did it too.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely become something worse than what it used to be. And
as more information came out, we changed our opinions of this and realized maybe this isn't the flu.
But I'm kind of glad that we waited a while to do a podcast on it. Had we first done it, like we were talking about, I still stay with the thought of the flu is still bad. You can still die from it.
Yeah, and
you can still have people die from it.
And having the flu is very unpleasant.
The flu is annoying. It can become something far worse. Pneumonia, strep throat, all kinds of
I think
stuff.
it was January 2018 I got the flu, and I legit slept for like an entire day, like 24 hours.
I got the flu in late 2018,
Yeah.
and it was really bad.
Uh-huh.
You really do feel like you're gonna die from it. It's bad.
Not really die, but just like, is this over with? Let me
Yeah.
be fine again. And you don't have the energy to even get out of bed to eat.
And it always starts off as just like a kind of slightly sore throat. You know it's coming when it happens.
I don't have the flu often enough to really know.
Always is for me, cold or flu. It's always.
I think I start getting kind of like that weird feeling, like sleepy, out of it.
I always get like kind of a
headache.
tingling in the back of the throat.
For me, that's cold.
Yeah, both of them for me actually. That and con crud. But yeah, I feel like we've said quite a bit of this here.
Hopefully, we didn't forget anything.
I don't feel like it. It's a mess out there right now. It really is.
Stay indoors.
Yeah, stay indoors and try to help out even a little bit. If everybody was just going about their ways and nobody was paying attention to it at all, it probably would have spread even further. And
yeah, so thank you to those
I don't want to see it get to absolutely crazy levels, so if people staying in can make it a little better.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Thank you to those who are heeding the warnings and keeping up hygiene, staying indoors, and a very big thank you for the healthcare workers who are putting their lives at risk, possibly, to help heal those who are suffering from this. And big thank you to CDC and those people who are researching to find a way to combat this.
Yeah, I mean, all of us want to get out. I guess you can still take walks, stuff like that, but
it's avoid people from like 6 feet away.
It's definitely avoid people, and it'll eventually go over. And
even for us introverts who are fine being on our own, it still gets stressful being indoors.
I still like to at least go out to places.
Yeah, have that kind of freedom, but
I think that's about all we had to say about it. We are going to do another topic at the end of this podcast that's about, staying indoors, what we've been doing, what people have been saying they've been doing, stuff like that. So we will continue it on with the third segment of this
I'd honestly
podcast.
rather stay indoors if it means stopping this and suffer than go outside and risk getting myself and everybody else sick.
All right, that's about all I have to say about it. I think we did pretty good.
Ending note. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Make sure to get in between your fingers, get your nails, and stay away from people for a while until we get the all clear. Preferably stay indoors. What else? Get plenty of sleep, eat nutritiously, help to boost your immune system, and hopefully this can...
I wash my hands all the time anyway, so
I know,
it's like
but
just second nature.
No, but for some of those who are just like doing what their usual. If you touch any hard surfaces in public, if you have to go outside, don't touch your face. Wash your hands as soon as you can before you touch your face.
It really is super difficult. Like I saw people waiting in line, panic buying, and they're sitting there with their hand up on their face. It's like, come on, people. Yeah, it's big mess.
And
big mess.
If you're not having symptoms, don't wear a mask. Save it for people who need it. I had seen stuff about wearing masks only if you're having symptoms, because to catch the droplets, to keep them from spreading.
Yeah.
So.
And the government said that if they catch anybody hoarding surgical masks or any type of those medical masks, that they're going to come after them. So I don't know exactly how much that is of a threat, but you may not want to.
Yes.
Maybe donate them to hospitals or something. Yeah, it's a big mess now, but I think it'll eventually all go through, and we'll
within, hopefully, the worst of it passes in 3 to 6 months, and hopefully this will completely blow over by next year. And then hopefully cons will go back to normal along with real life.
I'm hoping it blows over within a couple months, not a year. That's a long time.
Well, that's what CDC predicts with the vaccine, so.
It's tough. It's going to be tough.
Hopefully human immunity will boost up to the point where we don't have to worry as much about it before a year, but you never know.
It's a tough one. Hopefully we talked about it a bit, educated people a little bit about it, and
Just keep your head up.
Yeah.
Hold hope that this will be over with, and that's really the only thing you can do right now.
That all?
Yeah.
I believe that's all. Yeah.
Stay safe.
Hopefully we all make it through.
Stay safe, if not for you, for other people.
Yep.
All right.
That all?
Next topic.
Next topic. Yay.